FTFL weekly update and owner of the resurrected franchise, the Hulkamaniacs, running wild all over the FTFL, brother. But it wasn't quite wild enough. More on that later. Man, Week 7 is in the book. We are now over the halfway point in the season, and Week 7 was the highest combined scoring week we've had all season. 5 teams over 100 points. 4 of those 5 teams winning. That's right. One of those 5 teams lost for the second time while scoring 100 points. But we don't need to name names. 8 of the 10 teams were above 80. Now, 2 of those then means they were below 80 points, and I don't think also need to name names there either, because we'll talk about them in a little bit. The trades continue. LaShawn McCoy and Des Bryant on the move, and it sounds like maybe Des Bryant is going to be on the move yet again. The other question I know everybody's wondering, is Jay Ajayi the best running back in the league? Maybe. We'll find out. We'll see. Again, at the halfway point, or just over the halfway point, only one team in the North is above 500. Only one team in the South is below 500. It's been that kind of year. Then again, though, with 6 weeks left, 3 and 4 is in the playoffs. Meaning there's only a 2-game separation between the last playoff spot and the last place team in the league. 6 weeks, anything can happen. Let's get to the games from this past week. Starting off with what I consider the marquee match of Ryan Deesum, Cities and Balls at 4-2, taking on Bazinga at 3-3. Both teams trying to improve playoff position. Both teams looking for a much-needed win. 116 to Ryan, 88 to Andy. Ryan's team gets the win. Now, for him, good week across the board. Only Jarek McKinnon at 2.5 points and Amari Cooper at 2 points were below 9. Everyone else was above 9 points. That's what you call a good week. No, sorry, great week. Andrew Luck led the way with 28 points, and welcome back, Latavius Murray. 17 points. A welcome sight for a team that desperately needs running back help. Although Jeremy Hill is coming your way, to see if he's got time from doing all the cab runs that he's been up to. Maybe he can show up just a little bit more. The Raiders are 5-2, and so is Ryan Deesum. Oddly enough, he started 3 Raiders this week. Now, Bazinga, Andy's team, also started a Raider, Derek Carr, thinking, well, I've got the quarterback, he's got the receivers, we'll go step for step when they score points. That didn't quite happen. Derek Carr ends up with 10, and of course, it wasn't enough to get the win. AJ and Julio Jones, a 38.5 combined points, continue to carry the squad. Le'Veon Bell chipped in 13, which was solid. Justin Tucker was the next highest scorer on the team with 14. And actually, take that back, the third highest score, because he scored more than Le'Veon Bell. When your kicker's your third highest score, that's usually not the recipe for the W. In case you were wondering, Big Ben, he had 0 points this week. Now, of course, he was on the bench. Matt Jones, though, was in the starting lineup, and he also had 0 points. Now, had Andy kept Jay Ajayi, and had Andy started Jay Ajayi, his 20.5 points wouldn't have made a difference. He falls to 3 and 4. Next up, one of the teams with a 5-1 record in the league, Cream America Industries, takes on the Radioactive Monkeys, the surging Radioactive Monkeys, who are 3-3. Final score 103, Adam to Sid's 83.5, and the Radioactive Monkeys continue to look stout as they get better each and every week. Now, my thought is, did all the smack talk finally catch up to Sid? There was a lot of gum flapping on the chat board, and maybe, just maybe, this is the start of something terrible for Sid Hagen. The Radioactive Monkeys, powered by the running backs, his newly acquired LeGarrette Blount, finally in the lineup this week, 20.5 points, and welcome back Old Man Forte, 24 points. He needed that, as only 2 other players were in double digits this week. And that was Kirk Cousins with 18 and Josh Lambo also with 18. DeAndre Hopkins, 4.5 points, continues to struggle with, becoming the player that I think a lot of people thought he was going to be this year. He did escape 3 combined wide receiver in his starting roster, 13.5 points, while 3 bench receivers combined for 31.5. Again, didn't matter. He still got the W for Sid. He led the way was Hilton with 21.5 points. His running backs, Spencer Ware and DeMarco Murray, combined for 34.5 points. 3 guys over 50 points. Now, he only scored 80-some. The holes came in the shape of 2 other wide receivers, a tight end, and a defense combining for a mere 5.5 points. There was no help on the bench. He was going to lose this no matter what. Then again, it's only his second loss, and at 5-2, he's in pretty good shape. Next up, the big return of the Hulkamaniacs, and it was big, 103 points. Not big enough to take down 5-1 Manamana, which moves to 6-1 with 121 points. Great week. Every single player from Manamana was 7+ points. Melvin Gordon was 29, led the way. All three running backs combined for 55 points. 55, that's almost half. The David Johnson trade. Every night I go to sleep, it just whispers at me and haunts me a little more. None more so than when I'm actually playing against him. And, of course, the Sunday night game, wow, was that death by just water droplets. It was terrible to watch. Hulkamaniacs brought back the name. Aaron Rodgers brought back the game. 24 points for him. Jay Ajayi, what a nice week. Follows up the last week. He has 20.5 this week. Christine Michael, where did you go? Seattle Seahawks offense, where did you go? 3.5 points. That one stung. My tight end problems continue. Martellus Bennett adds in a half point. A half point isn't going to get it done. Now, the good news is at 1-6, I'm still only 2 games out of a playoff spot, so in case you were worried that the Hulkamaniacs were going to miss the playoffs, brother, worry not. Time now for 1 good minute, and something kind of cool this week. Opened up my email this morning, what did I find? Fan mail. The FTFL inbox had some fan mail. I'm going to read it, so here we go. It says, "Hi, Brett. First of all, I would like to say I love your show. I'm a big fan. It says, my favorite franchise is Adam Swartz. I'm hung. I love what he has done with his team. Also, my favorite episode was one with Adam on. He is super funny. I will tell you, it was the highest rated episode we've had to date. Anyways, I continue. My question for you is the changing of your team name from the Hulkamaniacs to the Macho Madness to the Macho Sadness back to the Hulkamaniacs, is that a reflection of your continued lack of success in the regular and postseasons? I heard Des Bryant is on the trading block for his first-round pick. Sounds like a bargain to me. Thanks, Brett. Keep up the good work. Gary from Gary, Indiana." Well, first off, thank you, Gary, for getting in touch with us. We love hearing from the fans here on the FTFL Weekly Update. Now I'm going to address a few things. Your favorite team is Adam Swartz. I'm hung. Wow, low expectations. 3-4. You love what he's done with his team. He's done so much with his team that is 3-4. That's only a loss or two away from a flaming pile of garbage. Let's just cool it for a bit. Now, as far as you asking about my name change, no, it was time to bring back the Hulkamaniac name. There's a lot of great history attached to that name. Lack of postseason and regular season success. I think, Gary, that maybe you haven't, been up to speed on your FTFL history. 2003 FTFL champion. 2014 third place champion. We have all sorts of success stories when it comes to the Hulkamaniacs. No more on that. Again, thanks for getting to me. If you would like to email the show, the FTFL inbox is open. Let us know your thoughts and feelings. All right, back to the last 2 games. Eric in the Pack Attack at 2-4 versus the Architect, who has now kind of started to bobble things around a bit. Not the strong team we once thought they were. He was 4-2. Final score 106 to 31.5? Yeah, that's not a misprint. If you're Pack Attack, every single person contributed except for Terrence West, who dropped a big fat 0. Rob Gronkowski, wow. Did he like having Tom Brady back? He had 18 this week. His 3 running backs only combined for 17.5 points, but he still put up 106, and let's be honest, he could have put up half of 106, and he still would have had a nice, clean victory. If you are Matt, what the hell? 31.5 points? You started a kicker on a bye. Just adding money to the pot. $5, cha-ching! Come on, man. Gore was the only person in double digits. The only person above 10. Your score included 4 players who had a 1 and 1 player who had a 0. At one point, they looked like one of the better teams in the league. Now, they continue to falter and need to turn things around quickly, or this could get ugly. Last game of the week, Adam Swartz, I'm hung at 2-4 versus John Linkowitz, 1-5. Sorry, Team Linkowitz. My mistake. 84 for Adam, 43 for John. Now, if you're Adam, good week, not a great week. His running backs combined for 21 points. There was 2 of them. His 3 receivers combined for only 20 points. Never mind, though, because the defense, the Philadelphia Eagles, put up 22. Now, they played against the Vikings, so they should be weighted somewhat, because let's be honest, the Vikings offense, not going to hold. I would trust a wet paper sack to hold up longer than the Vikings offense. Again, if you're John, we'd probably be talking more about you this week, but you can go ahead and thank Matt. Make sure he's on your Christmas card list because he's taking the attention away from you. Now, the Vikings, the vaunted Vikings defense, who has carried John's team, once again in the top 3 for scoring on his team, but that was only with 6 points. The only 2 that had more points was Matt Ryan with 10 and Todd Gurley with 9. Jamal Charles thought he was ready to come back and be a contributor. Think again. 1 carry, 0 points. That one stings. Both Matt and John this week could have played their entire rosters and still lost their game. Well, that wraps up the game, so now let's get to the stud and the dud of the week. Stud of the week, Melvin Gordon, 29 points. Last year, he scored 0 touchdowns. This year, through 7 weeks, he already has 10. But make room at the table, Mr. Gordon, because I'm handing the second stud of the week to a winner, previous winner, Matt Old Man Forte. I've been dogging it out for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Came back big, 24 points, allowed his team to go over the 500 mark, back to 4-3. Dud of the week, I thought, Jordy Nelson. You know what, Jordy Nelson, you're going to be the dud this week at a half a point. Now, he usually averages 10. 10 points from Jordy this week still would have been a loss from Hagen. So I thought, well, I'm not going to totally pin this on Jordy. Now, I hate to do this, but I'm going to do it anyways because I think it is rightfully deserving. Matt's entire team is the dud of the week. 31.5 points. Anyone not named Frank Gore? Dude, terrible. There were only 2 players besides Frank Gore that scored above 5 points. We might not see a score this low for the rest of the season. It might be quite some time. Then again, records are made to be broken, but 31.5 points earns you dud of the week. Honors, decent update. We're going to keep this train rolling. Matt, if you're not going to submit a full, competent lineup, that's pretty much verbatim what the DSUM award is about. Not running a team effectively, not knowing how to manage a team. You have to have a complete lineup. Now, a kicker wouldn't have saved your week, but come on. Come on. Next week, we head down the stretch. 6 weeks to go. The playoff race is going to tighten up. Kramerica at 5-2 versus the now reeling Architect at 4-3. High school buddies collide. Can Sid strengthen his hold in a playoff spot? Sadly, Matt is in a playoff spot at the moment. Can he bolster his playoff resume? Ryan Deesum at 5-2 versus the Pack Attack at 3-4. Bazinga at 3-4 versus Adam Swartz. I'm hung at 3-4, fighting for second place in the great North Division. Manamana looks to go for win number 7, which would all but put him in the playoffs against Linkowitz, who is trying to get off the schneid. 6 losses in a row. So I think he's up to, what, 105, 106 now. Whatever that is. Last game of the week is Radioactive Monkeys at 4-3, taking on the Hulkamaniacs, who desperately need a win to improve to 2-6. Thanks once again for catching the FTFL Weekly Update. My name is Brett. I will see you next week. Until then, peace out.